Let's look at the Grail of embodied masculinity. It is something very important to understand for men, but also for women who want to support men or want a partner shining in his embodied masculinity. There's a crisis of healthy masculinity that has been building up with all kinds of distorted ideas about what it means to be a man. It is also common to label men as beta males or alpha males. However, both labels are actually two sides of the same coin of an unintegrated, wholesome masculinity. There's also the rise of what I call pseudo-masculinity, that is a knee-jerk reaction to feminism and the feminization of men, and a distortion around what the mainstream calls toxic masculinity. As a result, there's a crisis of healthy relationships between men and women. And many men, I notice, suffer from depression and loss of meaning and purpose in their lives, even despite outer accomplishments and success, or they never live up to their full potential. Many men can also get stuck in hypermasculinity and only striving for success externally as a compensation for inner emptiness, or they engage in oversimplified role play and personality behavior, as we see in the so-called manosphere and the hyped polarity movement, with oversimplified concepts around leading and dominating men and submissive women, which oftentimes do more harm than any good. For men who want to rise in their embodied masculinity, it is going way beyond beta or alpha male labels, beyond mindset or personality behaviors of how you think a man should act and be. Now, here's the irony in the equation. In order to become a fully embodied man with healthy masculinity operating on higher levels of consciousness in his full potential, a man must integrate the feminine archetypes within himself. It's an inner journey first and foremost. It's a conquest for the holy grail of embodied masculinity. A key point to understand that a man's sense of value, worth, joy, contentment, belongingness, purpose, and happiness derive from his inner feminine nature and not just via external accomplishments, which are often unconscious compensations for lack of inner integration and wholeness. His relational and emotional intelligence towards the women in his life, be it his wife, girlfriend, sister, daughter, or mother, also derive from his inner feminine qualities. Now, there are 6 basic relationships a man bears to the feminine world. Out of those 6, the most important feminine elements within a man to integrate are the mother complex, which is not to be mistaken for his physical mother, very important, and the anima, which Carl Jung related to a man's soul. That is his muse, inspiration, connection to his creativity, joy, and life force. The classical beta male is overtaken by his anima, most often oversensitive and passive. What people call alpha males are usually men who have rejected the anima, caught in one-sided masculinity that most often lacks emotional intelligence. Both types represent low levels of unintegrated men, and both types can also project their inner anima onto women, who will never be able to live up to the projections. It's the reason why most relationships fail or why men stay single. On a side note, women need to integrate their animus, which is their male counterpart within. They also tend to project it on men instead of integrating it within themselves. Now, besides integrating the anima, the mother complex is the most difficult encounter for any man. Nothing is as dangerous to a man as an unresolved mother complex. Again, it is not to be mistaken for the physical mother. Due to a lack of conscious rites of passages from boyhood to manhood, most men have an unresolved mother complex that is overshadowing them most of their lives even. A man taken over by the mother complex has a need to prove or show off his masculinity, be it through his physical body, accomplishments, possessions, high-risk behaviors, extreme sports, or the women he has conquered. Another sign of being taken over by the mother complex is the need to escape life, the need to be taken care of, to smoke pot and play video games all day, porn addiction and so on, and other mindless consumption. It can also show up as endlessly complaining about life, wallowing in negativity, cynicism, and victim blame consciousness, with all kinds of excuses why he can't do this or that. His will to fail has overcome to the will to live. The extreme expression of the mother complex overtaking a man can result in suicide. Now, in Western mythology, the mother complex is represented by the dragon that the hero has to face and conquer. The fair maiden or princess that he needs to free represents his inner anima. She awaits him only after the dragon has been slayed. So, a man's journey to integrated, wholesome masculinity is to slay the dragon of his mother complex and free the fair maiden, his anima. It's an internal battle which most men project externally, like Don Quixote fighting illusory windmills mistaken as the enemy. Parsifal's search for the Holy Grail from the 12th century King Arthur legends is a myth depicting 3 stages of archetypal psychological development for a man. Modern society has lost its connection to these ancient myths. They are often taken too literally, missing the deeper message of internal transformation. These myths provide guidance and profound insight into archetypal psycho-spiritual processes. Engaging in this inner alchemy is more important than ever for a man in a world devoid of spirit and deeper meaning. Surface appearance, obsession and identification with the physical body, or complete dissociation from it, mindless consumption and materialism overshadow the profound loss of meaning and higher purpose in a man's heart nowadays. Women would also benefit from learning about male in-depth psychology and the secrets of the Grail myth, to learn more about the man in their lives, whether it is your father, brother, son, husband, or boyfriend. It's important for a woman to be aware of how she can support a man if she genuinely wants him to shine in his integrated masculinity and receive from him what supports her. And it certainly is not just being submissive, engaging in some sort of contrived role play, or just following a man. In our podcast, The Masculine Wound and How to Heal It, we explore these topics in more depth.